everybody. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. Good afternoon, and welcome to another AFC webinar. Today, or this afternoon rather, we have Winding Down, Unplug and Unwind. Our presenters are Rochelle Popfinch, Director of Student Development from Indian River State College. She's also the Ombudsman. And we have Dr. Jody Robeson. Robeson, okay. Director of the Institute for Academic Excellence. If you were on the Region 5 conference I guess it was last week or week before last. All my days are running together now. They did a version of this presentation that was excellent. So I know you're going to enjoy it if you haven't seen it today. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Rochelle and Jody.
Well, thank you very much, Marsha. Good afternoon to everybody. It is great so many people could join us for today's meeting. I do want to go ahead and begin by thanking Rochelle again for asking me to join her for this presentation, and to the AFC for the opportunity to share with everyone. So welcome to today's session on Winding Down. It's a discussion that is focused on unplugging and unwinding. So what we want to do is we want to take some time today to talk about remote working arrangements, which are new to so many individuals. Everybody needs to remember that you have to unwind and to unplug. When you think about unplugging and unwinding, we are talking about two different actions. You can go ahead and unplug, but you have never unwind, or you can unwind and never unplug. And today, Rochelle and I want to talk a little bit about the two different ways you can do that, and remember that we have to do both of them. For our outcomes today, Rochelle and I will share several ideas that you may want to consider putting into place yourself, as well as sharing these ideas with your students, colleagues, families, and friends. While we are presenting, we encourage you to use the chat box feature if you have any questions or to share comments while we're talking. We will address your questions while we are presenting or at the end. We will end with you sharing in our chat box some nuggets or takeaways that you have identified from our presentation that you are able to incorporate in your personal life. And we certainly hope that you're going to go ahead and share those, as I indicated, with students, family, friends, and your other coworkers. Thank you again. And Rochelle, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to you.
All right, well, thank you, Jody. Thank you again for joining us today. It's a great pleasure to be able to take the opportunity to share some nuggets and to give you some tips on learning how to unwind and unplug. I know from my personal experience, it's really hard for me to do that. I am a workaholic and I'm always nonstop and sending emails at 2 o'clock in the morning because I'm one of those people that if it's on my mind and I wake up, I want to take care of it right away. Otherwise, I'll forget about it. So I'm one of those people that works until the job is done. And in my opinion, the job is really never done. During this time that we've been in this pandemic, I thought it was really important that we focus on becoming the best version of ourselves that we can be. It's a great opportunity to, Dr. Massey always says, work harder on yourself than anything else. And so with this opportunity, we've had a lot of time on our hands. And so I thought it was really important that we focus on becoming the best version of ourselves and take the opportunity to enjoy the small things in life. Here are some opportunities for you on how to become the best version of yourself. One, mental health is so crucial, especially during these times. We're all stressed out, we're working too much, we're probably attached to our phones or work or whatever we're doing. It's really important that you decompress, not only now, but even when this pandemic's over. A 30-day mental health challenge, I provided some resources that you'll be sent or they will be included on the website so that you can see what the 30-day mental health challenge is and some of these other topics that we discussed today. But for instance, like the 30-day mental health challenge, maybe like you declutter a closet, or you write in a gratitude journal, or you create a vision board. Another opportunity would be like the 30-day photo challenge. And the 30-day photo challenge means that you just take one picture a day and you take a picture of something that brings you joy. So maybe you go outside after a nice rain and you see a beautiful rainbow. You take that photo. Maybe you just saw your child take their first steps, or draw an awesome picture. Or like my son Caden yesterday colored this awesome raccoon because he loves animals, and it was like picture perfect. And he's 7 and he has a little bit of fine motor skill issues. So I was so excited about it. I took the picture. I have it hanging up, but it's something that brings you joy. It could be you go into your favorite coffee shop and they put a design in your coffee. Take a picture of it, but just take one picture each day that brings you joy. Another project that I've been working on with my student leaders, because I'm in student life, so we had to continue with our leadership programs. Therefore, we had to come up with virtual ideas for students to get engaged with so that we didn't lose them, because engaged students are the most successful students, and engaged students are retained students. So we wanted to keep them engaged during these times. So I developed the project, the vision board, and I'm sure all of you have heard of vision boards. With the vision board, I encourage you to do it. I'm one of those people that has to be forward thinking. Where do I see myself in 5 years? What do I want to accomplish in a year? What's on my bucket list? What are the things that are most important to you? So that way, at any point in time, you can go back and look at it and reevaluate and see if you're following your values, because sometimes you're way off track. You're focused on the wrong things and not you. And you have to be the best version of yourself before you can help anyone else. So with the vision board, and I challenge you all to do a vision board, and then please feel free to share them with us. I think it's really awesome that we can share them. We can put them on our AFC social media pages. It would be great to do that. I'll be happy to share mine as well. But 3 to 5 values. What's great in the packet that I give you, there's a bunch of values you can circle. There's questions that spark your motivation to keep you, to get you thinking in the process so that you can gather what you want to collect and put on the vision board. Your vision boards can be elaborate, or they could be simply cutting out magazine things, or taking pictures, or putting different artifacts. And again, it could be your bucket list. It could be your goals. Got to have your goals on there to keep you focused, to remind you of what's important. Include what you want your future to look like in terms of your career. For me, I want to be a vice president. So therefore, that's always in my mind. What are the next steps I have to take to prepare me for that? When you go into a new career or a new position, you already want to be doing the job. You already want to know what it feels like in that role. So you should be mentally getting yourself to that point. You never want to be like the first day on the job is the actual first day on the job. You want it to be like you've already lived this before. I'm really big on quotes. So I find quotes that are meaningful to me. I have them all over my office, all over my home. Positive affirmations do so good for the soul. So I always find quotes that are meaningful, and I have that somewhere centered on the vision board because that's what's important. Your vision board can also just be things that strictly just bring you joy. Maybe your pets, your kids, whatever it may be. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of the vision boards that our student leaders have created through our Emerging Leaders program. So this was a board that stood out to me. One, I actually studied legal assisting at IRCC when I was a student. So this student, you can tell, is a paralegal student because she has her book shown, which I thought was really cool. That means education is important to her. Her quote at the top, it says, "Oh, it always seems impossible until it's done." Everything always seems impossible until it's done. And that just resonates well with me. This student is also a guardian ad litem, and that's a huge responsibility and a big commitment to our community. She believes, she achieves, and she succeeds. Adventure is important to her. Work ethics, I love that the work ethics is huge because, again, being a workaholic, work ethics is probably the one thing that I pride myself on the most, other than being a good mom. So I just really love this collage that Cheryl did. The next one, you saw how Cheryl's was more elaborate. This one I wanted to show you because it's not as elaborate. It's magazine clippings. So with your vision board, it can be as creative as you want it. If you're not creative, that's okay. This looks awesome too. Now, when you create the vision board, don't just stick it in your closet or stick it behind something. Put it out somewhere where you can see it. Hang it in your office. You're more than likely in your office more than you are at home sometimes. So, put it somewhere where you can actually see it, because you want to be able to see something over and over again until it becomes a reality. And again, that temperature check all the time. So, I love some of the quotes that this student put on here. It says, every accomplishment starts with a decision to try. Accountability breeds responsibility. That just speaks volumes. She's passionate. Because life comes in different sizes, you got to take it with a grain of salt. You have to lighten up and just go with the flow sometimes. All the things that are happening to us in this country are beyond our control. But what can we control? Our reactions and what we hold for the future and what we want to see for the future. You have to be the change you wish to see in the world. So always be kind, always think ahead, and try to just do the best you can and become the best version of yourself that you can absolutely be. Right now, there are unbelievable amount of free webinars and professional development opportunities out there. I'm going to highlight AFC's webinars because, well, you're already on here, so you know about them, but share these with your colleagues. I've been sharing, I'm the AFC chapter president here at Irsc, and I've been sharing this website out every time I send an email to our college-wide and encouraging people to get in there. And what I've noticed in this time is that there are so many Irsc employees right now that have participated in AFC projects that have never participated before. And that just makes me so proud. We are going to continue doing things virtually as well as face-to-face to try to encourage the more involvement, especially expanding across the campuses. Majority of our schools all have a lot of branch campuses, and getting them involved sometimes is a little challenging. Become an AFC member. I'm not sure if everybody on the webinar today is an AFC member, but if you're not, get involved. There's a bunch of discounts you can get in the community. There's many different professional commissions that you can join. You don't necessarily have to be in a commission that is part of your profession. Maybe it's something you aspire to be. For me, I want to be administrator, so I should join the administration commission. Your local chapter does monthly socials, community service projects. These are a great opportunity to expand your network. At our socials and our community service projects, I bring my family, my kids, everything. And so we have a great time. It builds so much camaraderie between your chapter, and you just get to meet so many people. And then when you get involved at the state level, being able to say, oh, I know somebody at FSCJ. Oh, I know somebody at CF. I know somebody at Miami-Dade. I know somebody at Broward, Brevard, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on. But there's just an incredible amount of networking. And, sometimes we feel like we're in it, like maybe we're the only ones going through a certain problem. But the reality is every single one of our schools are going through the same thing. So it's really important to have those networks so you can just pick up the phone or send an email and say, hey, have you ever experienced this? And what do you suggest? And do you got any advice for me? We all love to share. We're one big happy family in the Great 28. So just being able to network is really important, and it does allow you to become the best version of yourself. With networking, one time I heard a senator say, make your friends before you need them. And let that sit in there for a minute. Make your friends before you need them. That's what networking is all about. So he used the example that when he was on the campaign trail, he already made all his friends, so they were very eager to help him win the election, which it makes sense. You never are just going to say, hey, can you help me run my campaign? But if I don't know you, why would I help you? So it just gives you an opportunity to really expand your network and feel like a sense of camaraderie across the state. Here are some, I wanted to share this just so you could kind of see what we've been doing for our chapter. We've been trying to spice it up and make virtual engagement not only happen with our students, but our employees, because we don't want anyone to feel isolated. We do a lot of things with our students and our AFC chapter combined. It's a great opportunity to create those natural connections with mentoring. I can't tell you how many students have connected with other Irsc employees based on the projects that we do. So all of our community service projects, we open to both students and Irsc employees. You're working a whole day together. You get to know a lot about students, a lot about employees. It's great to see the relationships, again, networking. But we've had a Zoom social hour. We do Pioneer Pride every Friday. So everybody posts their pictures on social media showing their school pride. I love that we just did a throwback Thursday with baby pictures of IRSC employees. I am so impressed. We had 50 IRSC employees participate. If you go to our ASC IRSC page on Facebook, you'll be able to see them all. If you know some of the people that work here, take a guess at it. It's really fun. We've already put the names of who they are, but it was so amazing to see everybody come together. It just brings great joy. I couldn't wait to be AFC chapter president, and I thought it was going to be a whole different year because it's the 60th anniversary here at IRSC. I'm going to get to work with 2 different college presidents. I was looking at that perspective, but really what's been a benefit to me and a positive thing is that my involvement that I do every day with students and in student engagement, I was able to still get our chapter to stay connected and engaged in times where other people might not have had that experience to do that. So just like Matt is like in the great position because of technology, I felt like I was in the same kind of boat. So everything happens for a reason. I wanted to share this resource with you. ACE Engage is the American Council of Education. They're actually offering free year memberships right now, and they integrate professional development into your workflow. You can connect with different higher education colleagues, solve day-to-day challenges. There's lots of resources and webinars on there as well. I've attended many different things. There's case studies, just a great opportunity to get engaged and remember, focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Who knows? You might even find a job opportunity if you're looking to, move out of the state or whatever, but there's podcasts, there's all kinds of stuff in there. So you can do it right from an app on your phone, whatever you want. So if you're having a hard time unplugging, pull up something that will help you become better in your position that you're currently in and join some professional networks that we have available to us. As I mentioned, like work ethics is really important to me. I love to stay busy, but I also like to be productive. I don't want to be bored, but I also like to feel accomplished at the end of the day. I don't know how many of you make lists each day of what you have to do. Sometimes I make my list and then I do something that wasn't on the list and I write it down and check it off. It's that gratification. But now is a great opportunity to get ahead at home, research fitness videos, come up with different challenges, learn a new hobby, read a book that you haven't read before, join book clubs, have Zoom parties, watch parties, whatever. Have good conversations with your children. You don't ever get that quality time. So it's really good to have those meaningful relationships. You could even take online courses. I know a lot of people that are taking classes right now because they have extra time on their hands. So again, focusing on becoming the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. This is also a resource that is shared in the resources section. So you'll be able to look at this list. I know I'm kind of just moving through, but just some ideas if you're having a hard time of thinking of things to do. Or if you're getting bored yourself. So I wanted to share this with you just to give you an idea of some of the other things that you could possibly do. Maybe your college has a student life department and they're doing similar things. All of our student life departments across the state have been getting together and sharing ideas. So like this isn't like the original IRSC idea. I probably stole these from somebody. But we do motivational Mondays with encouraging quotes and different TED Talks that are either related directly to some type of leadership or professional or personal development. We've been doing Tour Tuesdays. We're traveling around the world. I was completely shocked by how many museums and national artifacts have these virtual tours, and they've had them this whole time, but I just don't think people were, open-minded thinking about them. Like, for instance, the Louvre has a virtual tour. I mean, there's all the zoos, like the San Diego Zoo and this zoo, they have virtual tours and they have live webcams. You can kind of go and look at the pandas if you want to, or the giraffes or whatever. We did the Great Wall of China. We've done beaches, all types of different things. So even though we're stuck at home, we're still traveling the world and enjoying life. Wellness Wednesdays, you want to try not to munch out and gain 10 pounds while you're being quarantined. So we figured, let's add some wellness to this. And so we've been doing like push-up challenges and sharing recipes, tips on how to incorporate more water, and different things like that. On Trivia Thursdays, we mix it up with different topics. Mostly we've been focusing on like pop culture and fun activities. Also like study skills, all kinds of different things that relate to the educational environment. Irsc Trivia, since we're celebrating 60 years at Irsc, we've incorporated some of that 60th anniversary celebration, since unfortunately we had to cancel our celebration because of that. And again, every Friday is Irsc Pride. I want to encourage you to do that. You don't have to wear Irsc, but your college. Show your pride for your school. Love where you're from. If you are excited about where you work and where you are, more people will be excited. Wearing your school shirt to Publix, to a shopping center, out of state, on vacation, wherever, to the gym. People are like, I am still shocked sometimes that I go to a place and they're like, where's Irsc? What's that? And I'm like, what? You're on the Treasure Coast. We're like the only school here on the Treasure Coast. But, you know, it's free marketing for your school, and enrollments are down. This is a great opportunity to show your support for your school. You know, I always tease some of my colleagues and say I bleed blue and gold because I'm an Irsc grad. Plus, you know, I love this place. And but, you know, it's really, really important to show off your pride and do it as much as you can, whenever you can. These are just some other things that you can do. Again, I'm not going to cover these. I do want to encourage you. I know this says like navigate River Life, but navigate your own college website. It's so important to know the resources that you have at your school. There is an abundant amount of resources at every single school throughout the state of Florida. And I highly doubt that every single person that works at their school knows the resources that there are. You may know a good handful, but you can always learn more. Okay, so try your very best. Go through your website, pick out the resources that you have available. You know, you never want to have to keep sending a student from this office to this office. You just want to make sure that you're able to take care of that student right away so you don't lose them. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Robeson.
So thank you very much, Rochelle. I appreciate that. And I loved the ideas that Rochelle had shared about unwinding and unplugging. I think we've done this presentation now about 4 times, so we're really becoming masters at this. Rochelle and I are really able to go ahead and unplug all of the time. I'm sure of it. I'm sure she's kind of laughing silently there with that comment. But I want to go ahead and comment about the one thing that Rochelle said. She made the comment about becoming the best version of you and yourself. And I love that comment. I think it's really important that we think about that. And I want to go ahead and add a little bit to that. She talked about the 30-day challenge and everything. More importantly, we need to become a healthy version of ourselves. So what are the things that we can do to be the best version of us and be a very healthy you? It's really important that we all remember, if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot help those who are around you. So it's critical to be thinking about that. So I want to go ahead and talk about your day. And I want to ask you to please use the chat box feature. So I'm going to go ahead and ask everybody to go down to the bottom box and click on the chat spot. And I want to ask you to take a moment and maybe think about it in your head before you type something out, but I want you to think about a few words that describe your workday now. Now that you are doing remote working, what is your day like? So just a couple words. Tell me what it's like. Time warp. Great. Don't be strangers. Type away. What is your day like? How would you describe it?
No, that's fine. Yeah, I don't think she should.
I see we have time warp. Too much sitting. Great. Thank you, Lara. Special projects and development. Productive. Great. Love it. More structured and focused on my to-do list. And I heard Rochelle talking about a to-do list. I am just like Rochelle, love to do that to-do list, and I check things off. And like Rochelle, if I find I've done something and it wasn't on my to-do list, I add it and check it off. Busy, hard to concentrate. A lot going on in the house. Great. a home with the animal. Okay. There's a lot of stuff I'm seeing here that I hear from people when I do talk to them. I hear a lot of I'm really happy to see that I see productive and special projects. I do get a lot of people talking to me about how it's long, it's exhausting. And I know that I saw it here somewhere about too much sitting. You are fixed or tied to the computer or to the phone. And I know that you're probably feeling the same way as others, that you feel like you can't even get up from your computer or walk away from your phone because you're going to miss something. You know, I know that when I'm working at home, if I run to the bathroom, I'm like panicking for the 30 seconds I'm dashing to the bathroom and coming back, or the 30 seconds to the microwave to heat my lunch up and to get back in front of the computer because I don't want to miss something. So that can be exhausting. We really need to go ahead and make sure that we are unwinding and unplugging. You know, Rochelle and I have talked about the fact that we feel like we work longer days now that we're doing remote working. So you need to think about these things. Are you taking these breaks that you need? You're not going to be that best version of you if you aren't doing that. When you were in your office, you were walking down the hall, you'd go to a meeting, you go to the mailroom, you run an errand, you chat with people. What are you doing at home and when you're working remotely? You need to find ways to go ahead and make sure that you're not going and taxing yourself and burning yourself out. So we're going to go ahead and highlight a couple things here on my Unplug and Unwind list that I want you to really think about. I've got a bunch up there, but you guys can read them, so I don't need to talk about all of them. I want to talk about the second one that I have on the list there. Phone a friend and have a virtual lunch. This is something I have done now a number of times. I've gone ahead and phoned friends and had virtual lunches so that we just meet over the phone and kind of chit chat and catch up on different things. This is a great way to unwind. The other thing that I've done is I've actually gone to different places and pulled up in a parking lot like a Panera, and I've gone ahead and we've backed into, one person's pulled in, the other person's backed in, we unroll our windows and we have conversations and have a little live lunch, but we practice our social distancing. So think about different and creative ways where you can still get together with people and interact, and you are unwinding and you're going ahead and interacting with people. Maybe it's at work and maybe it's with just friends, but making sure that you're taking time for yourself. I have down there, the fourth one on the list is talking about baking and cooking. I have to tell you, for me, something that always helped me to unwind was to bake or to cook. My husband would laugh at me because he'd walk in, he's like, who are you making food for? Who's eating all of this? And I would just laugh and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the neighbors. He's like, all these cookies and all this cake, this is not staying here. And I would be like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the neighbors. And what happened is, I have to tell you, I actually I thought to myself, wow, you know what? I can bake stuff and I can mail it to some family members right now. So I have gone ahead and I bake banana bread because apparently I have the best banana bread recipe. I'll give you a little tip to that. Use buttermilk. I make banana bread and I sand it off. And then I decided I'd never made biscotti. So I found this recipe for biscotti and I started making biscotti and sending biscotti off to people. So just something different to go ahead and give out to other people, because some people can't get to the store. So this is a great little treat that they get in the mail. I do have to send it kind of fast, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it's a way for me to unwind and I do something nice for somebody else. That kind of merges with the volunteering and doing something nice that I have highlighted here. The other thing I'm going to let you know that I've done is I live around some elderly individuals. So I've gone ahead and touched base with them and I'm like, how can I help you guys? What is there that you need at the grocery store that I can get for you? The older people, they don't have the BJ's cards or the Sam's Club or the Costco's. So I've gone ahead and my one set of neighbors, I've gotten them toilet paper. They've needed toilet paper a couple times now. So I've gone ahead and just got them a huge packet of toilet paper because they're concerned about that. But it's an opportunity to do something nice. Our college is also going ahead and doing masks and doing a little fundraiser with masks that people can wear. So I was like, well, you certainly do not want something that I have sewn. So how else could I support people here? So I cut out at night and I do that to help out. And it's a way for me to go ahead and unwind and not think about work because I'm focused on tracing and making sure I'm cutting properly. But think about different things that you can do. My other neighbor, they had no hand sanitizer, and I happened to have the ingredients for going ahead and making hand sanitizer. So I made a big thing of hand sanitizer and took it over them. There are all sorts of different creative things that you can do. I heard Rochelle talking about a number of things. There's something that I'm sure that you are thinking of that you could do that would be great for you to go ahead and help out with neighbors and give you an opportunity to unwind. You've got a number of other ones there. I want to go ahead and go to the bottom of the list, and I want to look at the last two. And this has more so to do with unplugging. I think, you know, as we were talking earlier and I talked about these, you feel like you can't get away from the computer and that you are fixated on your phones. When you're done from work, you have to go ahead and unplug. Find a spot for your phone, close your office door or wherever it is that you're working at home, and disconnect or unplug. Once you're done, leave whatever it is, wherever you're going to leave it, and then have you time and family time. If you are constantly on the phone or on the computer, you're not going to become the best version of you. I know Rochelle might have said it and she might not have at the beginning. I can't remember. I know she said it before in our other presentation. Do what she says, not as she does. So sometimes it's hard for us to disconnect, and she's laughing at me now, I can say. So I know that Rochelle and I both have that same thing. If something pops in our brain at like 2 a.m., we get up and we go ahead and take care of that email right then and there. But we do need to do a better job of unplugging and letting our mind shut down so we can be the best version of us. The other piece that I want to talk about has to do with communicating with your students about the time that you will or will not be responding to them. You need to make sure you let them know how you're going to communicate to them. Are you going to be doing it in your LMS? Are you going to be doing it with some type of a texting feature or calling them? Whatever that feature is, you need to make sure you clearly articulate to them how you'll do it and when you'll do it and the different times and how quickly you're going to do it. I had somebody say to me, you know, my students are always sending me emails on the weekend. Well, they had their assignments were always due Sunday at 11:59. And I said, you're going to want to go ahead and change the due time. Don't have it due at 11:59 on a Sunday, when you know students are going to wait till the last minute and go ahead and do it on Friday night and Saturday, and you're thinking, oh, I'm not going to respond to emails. No, you're going to have to respond to them because they're going to be asking questions about it. So make sure you articulate that. And if you recognize that, hey, students are always emailing me on Saturday and Sunday, and oh, I have a project due, let me shift the days and make it easier for you and for your students. So I want to go ahead and shift. And the next thing I want to talk a little bit about is I want to talk about when you are in these different meetings. So when you are on these different meetings and you're being asked to attend webinars and get on these conference calls, they aren't all required. Some of them certainly are, but the ones that aren't, your optional ones, I really want to go ahead and get you to think about this. If you tune into a webinar or conference call and you realize that it is not of benefit to you, I am always a fan of, I want to be able to take at least one thing. Is there a nugget? And I call it nuggets or takeaways. Is there some type of a nugget that I can get from this session that's going to help me? And if I can't, if I feel like I'm into a meeting and it's like 15-20 minutes and I'm not getting that piece, I'm going to go ahead and unplug. I'm going to disconnect because I want to be, as Rochelle said, productive with my time. What have I done? So if I'm not getting something out of that, in most cases, you know, if it is optional, you guys are on mute. So they're not going to know if you're ducking in or out of a session. So check out of those meetings. The other item is the use of a camera can be optional. I don't actually have a camera on my home computer, but in other cases, you have the option of going ahead and sharing your camera. If you don't want to share your camera, don't share your camera. And the students should have that opportunity as well. There are certainly some circumstances where you want people to share a computer, where you want them to share your camera. And if that's the case, that's fine. I understand that. I also am highly going to encourage you, before you go ahead and attend meetings and get on webinars, that you take a moment to do casual chit chat. I mentioned earlier that if you were on campus and you were going to a meeting, you'd walk down the hall, you'd talk to people, you'd engage in casual chit chat before the meeting. You need to do that when you're on webinars. Even if you don't have your mic enabled, you can do it via your chat box. So make sure you're doing that via chat box. Hop on early. We got on earlier and we were having great chit chat earlier in this conversation before before we started the webinar. You want to do that. It gives you an opportunity to still connect with people, and it puts the work element aside. It wouldn't be uncommon for me and Rochelle to go ahead and catch up at a meeting, and before the meeting started, talk a little bit about football or sports. And if you've heard us talk before, she's an Eagles fan and I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, so we'll go back and forth. Yes, yes. So, but take that time to talk about something other than work. It gets your mind focused on something else. And you know what? When you take a break, when you come back to think about what you need to talk about for your meeting, you can actually be more focused just because you took a few minutes break and talked about something different. The other item that I wanted to remind you of is if you are conducting a meeting, remember that you can mute people on your calls. For all the sessions that I do for our Institute for Academic Excellence, I only have our presenters unmuted. Not until the end of the session do I oftentimes take the mic, the unmuting feature off and enable people to go ahead and go back and forth with conversations. Oftentimes I still ask them to please use the chat box feature. It makes it a lot easier. Finally, I'm just going to go ahead and say on this slide, remember, take a water cooler break in the morning and the afternoon just to refresh yourself. It's not at the end of your day, it's during your day, but you do need to go ahead and give yourself a little refresher. Take 10 minutes. I see people are animal people. Go outside with your dog, or maybe walk down to the end of the street if it's not too hot, or make a call to somebody, or just get away from the computer for like 5, 10, 15 minutes. Okay, do that in the afternoon and do it in the morning. Last, I'd like to go ahead and turn this over to you guys and talk to you a little bit about winding down. So Rochelle and I have talked about winding down. We've talked about ways to wind down or unplug and to unwind. Now, my last slide is going to ask you to please go ahead and share with us some of the things that you can do that you are using right now to unwind yourself or to unplug. Take a moment in the chat box feature, and I do need, I see somebody has posted in here, they get up every hour to visit the feather baby. So red wine, okay, not a surpriser. Walking to the beach, love it. I've heard a lot of people talk about walking to the beach. Try to get outside every day for a long walk, awesome. Classic rock music, love it. Exercise, great. Walking, I'm seeing a lot of exercising things. Reading, excellent. And somebody else likes classic rock. There's Rochelle talking about that. And listening to books on tape. Yeah, that's great. So these are great things that you guys are doing right now to go ahead and unwind. I love it. I'm a definite bike rider, so I love that. I try to get out early in the morning though, so I can avoid the sun. I want to ask you now to go ahead and shift your mind to something different. It's still about the unwind and the unplug. Now I want you to tell me about some nuggets you took from us today. So my last slide's asking you to go ahead and share a nugget or a takeaway. And I want you to tell us, what is it that you have done or that you have taken from something that Rochelle and I have shared here that you know that you can now use to go ahead and unwind or unplug? And I do like the person that noted Martina writing cards and letters. And personal letters are great. People love that. Excellent. Listening more to ebooks. Good. What is something else that you were able to take from the session today from Rochelle and myself? Change the routine. Great. Awesome. Virtual tours. Love it. Creating a vision board. That was a big one the last time we did that. Turning off your ringer. Excellent, Erin. Love it. Other ideas. Permission to check out of calls. Yes. You don't have to go to every meeting. Yep, set those boundaries. Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. I like the quote on the one vision board. Excellent. Giving yourself permission to do that. Yes. Writing personal letters. Again, love it. So you guys have shared some great ways that you have already been unwinding and unplugging, and we've shared some additional ways that you can unplug and unwind, and it sounds like you found some different things that you can do. And we have some, the holiday emails. Yes, excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and say thank you again. I'm going to go ahead and ask Rochelle if she has anything else she would like to contribute to today's session. And if not, I'm going to go ahead and kick it back to Marcia. And again, say thank you to all of you for joining us today. And again, to Rochelle and AFC for the opportunity to share.
I am all set. Thank you, Dr. Robeson. We are all set. So if we don't have any questions, thank you all for participating and listening to us. And like Jody said, I am one that's like, do as I say, not as I do, because I have a hard time unplugging and unwinding. But doing this session, and like Jody said, we've done this quite a few times during this quarantine time, and it really has allowed me to focus back on myself and, you know, find those professional development opportunities wherever you can, those little nuggets wherever you can. So thank you again. I look forward to working with all of you at some point in our careers.
And you know what, can I say one last thing? I'm sorry, Marcia. You know what, Rochelle just reminded me at the very beginning, she made a comment, and I wanted to go back to it and talk about how true it is. She made the comment about hearing the statement, make your friends before you need them, and networking. This is a great opportunity for that. Rochelle and I have been friends for many years, and I have to tell you, she saw something I was doing, and she checked in with me, and she's like, hey, this unwind session, let's go ahead. And we started talking about doing the winding down, and we've now done this session, I think 4 or 5 times, if I'm not mistaken. And it was because we had that friendship. And we reached out and we were talking to each other, and we thought, what a great way to partner up and to do something that supports everybody. So a huge plug to Rochelle for touching base with me, and I'm glad we're friends, even though she's an Eagles fan.
We're just proof that it can happen, that Cowboys fans and Eagles fans can be friends.
Absolutely
works, right?
Yes.
I think on the last time you guys did a presentation for the region conference, we talked a little bit about mentors and how important mentors can be. And so I think that just kind of goes right in line with what you were just saying about, you know, having those friends before you need them. Don't forget, y'all, to reach out to your mentors. And then I also, you know, recommend that you also mentor other people. I think the folks that I have become a mentor for, I have gained just as much as you know, I have given to them. Those relationships become rich, and you can learn as well as teach when you have a mentor. I call my mentors my board of directors. And I go to my board of directors because they're very different. They come from different walks of life, and I go to them for very different things. So I don't necessarily always call upon the entire, you know, there's a new show on television. I'm a television watcher. I don't know if anybody's been watching it, but it's called The Council of Dads. I love this show. It feels a little bit like This Is Us, if anybody watches This Is Us, but when I saw the title, that's what caught me, The Council of Dads, and I was like, kind of like a board of directors, and, you know, and the premise of the show is that the father has cancer and he's dying, and so he goes to 3 really good friends of his and says, I want you guys to be the council of dads and be there for my kids and my wife once I'm gone. And
Marsha, is that a tearjerker? You're gonna make me cry?
Well, it has its moments, but really it's about life and how each of them, that's my other cell phone, forgive me y'all, and it's across the room, so I'm not gonna go get it. But it's about how each of those guys, as different as they are, they provide something valuable to each of the kids, as well as to the wife. And so to bring it full circle back to the mentors, I think that's why it's so important to have mentors and to have them from various walks of life and different industries, because there are times when you need those various people for different things. You know, sometimes it's a personal thing, sometimes it's a professional issue. So just don't forget if you haven't tapped into asking someone to be a mentor or several people to be mentors, do it. And then also, as I said, I think it's just as important to allow yourself to be a mentor for someone else. So that's my 10 cents worth.
Love it. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Well, if Jody, oh, I saw you unmuted. Well, if there is nothing else and I don't see anything in the chat, we will say thank you all for joining us this afternoon. There will be more AFC webinars to come, so check out the website. We have a full list of webinars through most of July, and they all, I think, are going to be really great. So thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, Jody. Each time, this is my second time sitting through this, and I was making notes today. So there are always takeaways. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon, and remember, please stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.